It's amazing. I text my friend, going back and forth with all this drama today, with Epstein and Cash Patel and Pam Bondi and Dan Bongino and Elon Musk and Steve Bannon, all this is going on. I'm like, all right, I'm going live, We got a lot to break down today. I said, and we are live. I literally texted him, and we're live. And he calls me, like, just a second ago. I'm like, bro, I'm live. I'm going live in like 30 seconds. Just watch the show. Oh, my God, guys, what a day. Yeah. The swamp is boiling right now. And you guys are here. You got a front row seat. I'm going to give it to you. All access pass to the chaos on Capitol Hill. Welcome, Patriots, to the Raw Feed. I'm Gary Franchi. And yes, we are live and we're streaming to millions worldwide on YouTube, plus our freedom fighters on Rumble and X. So hit the share button right now and text the stream. Pick up your phone, text it to everyone you know. For our ex-warriors out there, repost the show to your followers so we can bypass big tech's algorithms together. Now, you know what sets us apart from the corporate media? You. We're not just talking at you, we're talking with you. Your reactions, your thoughts, your super chats, your Rumble rants featured on screen for the world to see. So send them in right now before we even begin reading them between the segments. And speaking of support, if you want to back the show privately, the donation links are waiting in the description below. Every dollar helps independent media keep independent media alive and the truth flowing. Now, check this out. You're going to like this. Do you know what happened on this day in July 11th, back in 1804? This very day, 1804. Aaron Burr shot Alexander Hamilton in a duel that would forever change American politics. Two founding fathers, once allies, torn apart by power, ego, and irreconcilable differences. Sound familiar? Well, because today, 221 years later, we're watching another political civil war explode. Not with pistols at dawn, but with Epstein files, FBI resignations, and accusations flying faster than musket balls. And just like Hamilton and Burr couldn't coexist in the same government, we're watching Trump's inner circle implode as Elon Musk drops bombshells about Steve Bannon being in the Epstein files. FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino threatening to walk, and he's furious. AG Pam Bondi under fire. I'm sad to report that the MAGA movement is eating itself alive. But we are going to save it, you and me. We are the answer, and we are going to patch it up. Now, if you do want to show off your favorite news source, you can check out our merch shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Alligator Alcatraz President Auto Pen, an American Badass series. Wear the truth on your sleeve, but it does get even darker. While our government tears itself apart over cover-ups and secret lists, ICE just rescued 10 children from a cartel marijuana farm in California. Kids working as slaves while Gavin Newsom plays politics. Over 300,000 children are still missing. And plus, you can't make this up. The Black Death just killed someone in Arizona. The medieval plague now in modern America. Is this the next manufactured crisis? The next excuse for lockdowns? Well, you remember Dr. Peter Hotez? Well, he predicted viruses crashing down right when Trump took office. Coincidence or conspiracy? You decide. And don't forget to join our YouTube channel memberships. Every level has its own perks, special acknowledgement in the chat room, exclusive access to the Next News team, behind-the-scenes uploads, and our members-only 24/7 Discord chat. And while real crises explode, Hollywood is busy destroying Superman. James Gunn turned the Man of Steel into a weak, apologetic immigrant who wants to examine your privilege instead of fighting for American values. They're not just making bad movies, they're rewriting our culture. And over at the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell's palace of corruption is crumbling. Trump has just exposed his $2.5 billion renovation scandal, gardens, waterworks, VIP elevators. while keeping interest rates artificially high and crushing American families. Now Powell's reportedly ready to resign. Who will be the next Federal Reserve Chair? Probably the Treasury Secretary. We got some big hints from that in the last cabinet meeting. Now, folks, this is not just news. This is history in the making. The establishment's panicking, the deep state is exposed, and the truth is breaking through. And we are here to document every single moment, expose every lie, and give you the platform to respond to the world. So buckle up, Patriots. Today's raw feed is going to blow your frickin' mind. 5 explosive topics, each one more shocking than the last. Plus, of course, our historical trivia between segments. You can test your knowledge and drop your answers in the chat. My friends, the revolution is not coming. It is here. And you're watching it live on the raw feed. So let's go and welcome you to the program. We got Jeremy Olson, America Has Heroes. We got Jack, Running Bear, and Jay Tyrus is here. Michael Jones, Rumblebot never misses an episode. We got Cinnamon and Bella and R. Boyd and Todd Siegel. What's up, Todd? We got New 101. Buckle up, Buttercup. We got Running Bear, AJ Cruz in the house. Come on, guys, sound off. I need to see who's in the house tonight. Let's see. We've got Dave the Patriot and the Madness, Jose Ramirez, and Shane Beauvais. The first edition is here. Watching on X. What's up, Shane? We got Pamela. Dude, Shane, did you see, do you see the stuff we've been posting on X? Bruh. What the hell's going on, Shane? I'm sure you have some insight as well. You guys, you know the inner workings too. Bella Stubblefield, Diane is here. Sandra Rivas, Scontek, Jessica Dubois. Hello. Michael Jones, Rayman is here. Watchwoman of the Dragon. Antonia Flores. Shane Beauvais reposted this stream. That's what we like to see. That is how you win, folks. Mrs. Pothead Kenny's in the house. Captain Caveman is here. Joe Carroll. Evans News Report. Calamity Girl submarine veteran in the house. You see, guys, this is the family of truth warriors. You are one of them. We got Dave Corner, I think it's Comer or Corner. I'd like to say hello from Sanctuary City, Louisville. We need a translator to understand these people in the U.S. Ugh. Texas Rattler's here. Carrie Knopf, what's up? Happy Friday. It is Friday. What's up, Ron? Christopher Moore. Matthews author. Epstein files now. Shane Beauvais getting married. Congratulations. You know, I am an officiant. I could actually do the wedding. Oh yeah, I've done a few actually. Wouldn't that be something? You want the great Gary Franchi to be your officiant? Watch Woman of the Dragon, Miss Pothead Kenny, Sabrina. Everyone's here. All Fishing's here. Dave the Patriot shared the stream. Did you, though? Did you share the stream? Do you guys even know? You don't even know what's coming today on this show. We have bombs so big to make Lazar Bamba look like a fart in the wind. Okay, let's go. Let's see what we got. We got our trivia question here. What's up, Kathy? Okay, first multiple choice question. Which 1953 execution involved accusations of sharing nuclear secrets with the Soviets? A. Alger Hiss. B. The Rosenbergs. C. Klaus Fuchs. Or D. Robert Oppenheimer. I'm going to go with the Rosenbergs. I think it's the Rosenbergs. Yeah, that's where I'm going. And you guys are, it's saying Alger Hiss, I think, is where you're leaning. Oh, well, the Rosenbergs. You guys are going with the Rosenbergs. We're going to find out, though. after this segment. Okay? Yeah, don't go anywhere. It's going down. It's going down at the White House today. I don't even know where to begin, man. I think I'll just begin right about here. Are you sitting down? I hope you are. The MAGA movement just detonated from within. 3 words from Elon Musk have ignited a firestorm that's consuming Trump's inner circle. Steve Bannon, Epstein files, public accusation, but here's what should terrify you. The FBI says the files don't exist, so how does Elon know? What has he seen that we haven't? Well, right now, as we speak, the FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino is reportedly packing his office, ready to resign over this entire mess. Attorney General Pam Bondi is under siege. The forensic evidence now shows that the Epstein footage was actually edited 4 times. Now, this isn't just another scandal. This is the unraveling of everything, and the cover-up is cracking. The players are turning on each other. Keep watching, because we have all of the details. Now, you probably think your 401k is safe, but it wasn't designed to make you wealthy. It was built to shift retirement costs and risk onto you, leaving your savings exposed to crashes, inflation, and chaos. But Americans are waking up and taking control with real assets like gold, and Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands secure their future by converting part of their 401k into a tax-advantaged gold IRA without penalties or headaches. It's safe, simple, and smart. Visit nextnewsgold.com to get your free wealth protection kit and discover how to safeguard your savings. Open a qualified account today and receive 2 5-ounce silver America the Beautiful coins free. And they're beautiful coins. That's nextnewsgold.com. Your exit from the danger zone, and that number on the screen, 877-646-5347. Tell Colin when you call that Gary Franchi sent you. Just tell him I said hi. Would you do that for me? Okay, all hell's breaking loose, folks. All hell is breaking loose. And there's only one man laughing. That's Jeffrey Epstein from either hell or the Witness Protection Program. This is the scene, an artistic rendition of what is happening right now in the Trump administration. Accusations flying, classified memos leaking, files getting buried, just hell breaking loose. But this is what's crazy. Okay, this news is coming out. I mean, okay, before I even get to everything, what we're talking about today wouldn't be possible without free speech and social media. Whether it's YouTube, whether it's X, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, pick your poison. None of the information that we are able to transmit to the world would be able to get out without these platforms. Free speech. So you want to talk about the Epstein files? Go ahead, talk about the Epstein files. But who doesn't want free speech right now? Literally, look who's back. Frickin' Hillary Clinton. She crawled out from her hole and she says she's calling for mass social media censorship right on cue. If these social media platforms don't moderate content, then we lose total control. What she really means is if social media platforms don't moderate content, then my husband is going to get implicated in the Epstein files.
Affects its platforms, whether it's Facebook or Twitter X or Instagram or TikTok, whatever they are. If they don't moderate and monitor the content, we lose total control. And it's not just the social and psychological effects, it's real harm. Platforms, whether it's Facebook.
Real harm to your husband, who really enjoyed his time on the Lolita Express. So all this is going down, and we posted this just about 6 hours ago on X. The war between Elon Musk and Steve Bannon just went nuclear. Elon himself posted that Bannon is in the Epstein files, but how does he know? The FBI says they don't exist. This video breaks it down. Is this the moment that changes everything? This is a video we posted on our first initial report on this. Continuing, what happens here? They mocked us. They called it a conspiracy, but Musk wasn't bluffing. As head of Doge, he had top secret clearance and full access to follow every tax dollar spent on the Epstein case. From flight logs to hidden budgets, he found what they buried. So let's be clear. Elon Musk didn't hack the system. He was the system. They gave him the keys. He followed the money. And now we know why they're panicking. He has the receipts, every single one. And it's not about gossip. It's about proof. Elon Musk holds the paper trail, the financial smoking gun that exposes the Epstein cover-up. Elon Musk, you have lit the fuse. Now the world is watching. Time for phase 2. Drop the list. We've got your back. Follow the money. Ann Vandersteel replied. She said, Roger Stone Jr. made the same claim. Is there more context? I mean, a file is a file. Context and content are king. Elijah Schaefer. At this point, I can't tell if Elon's trolling or being serious. Hassan, 100%. Elon and Trump need to get it back. United they stand, divided they, and we all fall. We definitely need them working together again. There's no question we need to get these guys back on the same page. The most powerful man in the world and the richest man in the world. Before I get to the metadata, this just in about 3 hours ago, and we have an update. Dan Bongino will resign from the FBI if Pam Bondi refuses to leave the DOJ, according to the Daily Wire, Mary Margaret Olohan. Now, I've met Mary Margaret at the White House press briefing room. She gets the work done. She says, Eric says, this is getting confirmed everywhere. President Trump is in Texas right now. AG Bondi needs to think about this one and not put Trump in a bad spot. Here we have more.
Considering resign. All right, this breaking news. Sources tell CNN that Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino has told people that he's considering resigning amid a major clash between the FBI and DOJ over the continued fallout from the release, or lack thereof, of the Jeffrey Epstein memo. Joining us right now in files, joining us right now on the phone is CNN anchor and chief White House correspondent Caitlin Collins. Caitlin, what more are you learning?
Yeah, Fred, it remains to be seen if he actually follows through with what he has told colleagues. But what we do know is that Dan Bongino has told people he is considering resigning as the deputy director of the FBI over the fallout that has continued ever since this memo was released last Sunday. The anger inside the MAGA base has only continued to grow instead of going away, as some officials inside hoped it would. And now our colleagues, along with Christian Holmes, Tanner Rabinowitz, and Evan Perez, we're hearing that he's considering resigning after they had this heated confrontation with the Attorney General Pam Bondi over the handling of this earlier this week. And basically there was a meeting at the White House where the FBI Director Kash Patel was there, the White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles. They were questioned about whether they were part of a story that there was basically some infighting over how this came out, and this memo that said we're not going to be releasing any more information related to Jeffrey Epstein. And I should note that we are told Bongino denied leaking any story to this outlet that it was reported on. But there has been a lot of fighting between Attorney General Pam Bondi specifically and the leadership over at the FBI over who's to blame in this situation. I think the context here is obviously Dan Bongino, Kash Patel. They came from this MAGA world where they themselves had pushed a lot of questions about the so-called client list that Epstein had beforehand. And now the MAGA base is just not pleased or satisfied with what they've said in this memo that came out unsigned from the Justice Department and the FBI on Sunday night. So what we are told is Dan Bongino did not show up to work today, that he is essentially not there out of protest. But whether or not he actually follows through on this still remains to be seen. We're still reporting that out. But it just speaks to the backlash that the White House is very much feeling and understanding after this memo came out, despite President Trump the other day in the cabinet room asking, who still cares about this? One thing we know is the MAGA base certainly does.
All right, Caitlin.
So there you have, that's Caitlin Collins right there. Okay. Excellent reporting from Caitlin Collins. But now we're finding this. This just dropped 49 minutes ago. Dan Bongino is livid reading reports he's leaving the FBI and says they're untrue. Bongino has privately told friends, "I'm not going anywhere." He's not happy with the situation and thinks that if anyone should leave, it should be Pam Bondi. Huh. You see what's going on here? Now check this out. Todd Blanche. Who is Todd Blanche? Todd Blanche is the Deputy Attorney General serving under the leadership of AG Pam Bondi and the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. So what did Todd Blanche have to say? 7 hours ago, he posted this. He said, "I work closely with FBI Director Cash and FBI DD Bongino on the joint FBI DOJ memo regarding the Epstein files. All of us signed off on the contents of the memo and the conclusion stated in the memo, the suggestion by anyone that there was any daylight between the FBI and DOJ leadership on this memo's composition and release is patently false." Well, he's getting roasted right now. Here is Robbie Starbuck. This doesn't help. Release Epstein's financial transactions if you want credibility back. Okay, what does that say? What did we frickin' tell you the other day? Who had access to the books? Rocket Man himself had access to the books. Robbie Starbuck gets it. Release the financial transactions. Elites can then explain their transactions with him, and people can decide if explanations make sense. Laura Loomer says, "How come nobody signed their name to the memo?" Remember that memo? I noticed that too. There was no signatures, no signatories to that paper. Laura says, "My sources tell me the FBI wanted to release more information about Jeffrey Epstein, and Pam Bondi and her DOJ said no. This has caused tension between Blondie, Cash, and Bongino. As for transparency isn't difficult. Blondie is literally blowing up the Trump administration by concealing information, spending time on Fox News, lying to the MAGA base, and by releasing contradictory statements. There's information that can be released the public wants to see. Why was the memo released on a Sunday night on the 4th of July weekend with no official signage and no names of any admin officials? You only release memos on Sunday evening on holiday weekends when you don't want anyone paying attention to the contents. Trump team needs to read the room. Blondie's been very damaging to the admin, has damaged public trust in the DOJ. She's hurting President Trump and his staff and advisors. She lied on national TV and needs to be held accountable for harming the Trump administration and public trust." Okay. Cernovich, he weighs in 6 hours ago. "Please unseal the search warrants. Only DOJ can do this. It can be done this afternoon. A lot of low-hanging fruit, transparency-wise, which hasn't been released. Easy to start with the search warrants." Gunter Eagleman. "Todd, this is a horrible look on the FBI and DOJ. Who leaked the draft memo to Axios? Who leaked the draft memo to Axios? Who? Why were there no signatures? And why did it take hours for anyone in the admin to address it? This doesn't even cover the lies told in the memo. These agencies, including you, are lying." Rasmussen reports, weighs in. "What genius leaked it to Axios for a Sunday night data dump?" Oh, that's right. That PR disaster nugget remains classified. On a holiday Sunday night, directly after the passage of the big historic bill, large patriotic White House rally, someone leaks the memo. Yeah, here's the memo. This is the one that's causing all the chaos. No signers. Do you see any signatures? I don't see any signatures there. So all day, we have been trying our damnedest to get this information in front of Elon Musk. As you can see, 6 hours ago, I tagged Elon Musk because we need to talk. We need to clear the air. We need to heal. We need to heal this party. We need to bring everyone back to the get together. We need to get to the truth. One of our associates, Adam Lowitz, has been working tirelessly spreading that very thread that we posted on every single one of Elon Musk's posts. Now, interesting to note, Elon Musk does actually follow Adam Lowitz. So the probability of Elon seeing what we have put out into the public is highly probable. And then there's this. Adam writes, Elon, did you see this? At a Turning Point event, Steve Bannon declared his number one mission is to destroy you and your companies. This guy has gone off the rails. Trump needs to talk to Bannon and his clique and tell them to knock it off. And what happened? Boom. Elon Musk replied to him 32 minutes ago. Back to prison for Bannon. That's what Elon just posted. Back to prison for Bannon. Adam says we have to push back on Steve Bannon and Sergio Gore. It is my opinion that they are bad for Trump. And then, boom, what does he do? He posts the link to our thread. But that is only the tip of the iceberg today. I want to get to what Alex Jones had to say. But first, we have this. Interesting. Grace Chong posts this. Listen to this. Now, I believe that this was just recorded at the Student Action Summit with Turning Point. You can see there is Jack Posobiec. You have Steve Bannon, Natalie Winters on the stage. Let's listen in.
To DNI, the only way this thing, the firestorm, passes is if the 5 to 10 to maybe 15% of the Trump movement, the Pepes and the hardcores, many of whom are in this audience, just say, I've had enough of it. The Epstein situation gets down to one basic question. One basic question. Who governs this country? Right? Who governs this country? Is it a shadowy network of intelligence, MI6, Saudi intelligence, the Mossad, CIA, elements of DNI, with other international financiers and corporations and governments? Or do the people of the United States govern? All that information has come out, and the people have to weigh and measure it itself. This is the most populous thing we can do right now. The only way thing...
So that was just posted. But here's my question. Steve Bannon's out there screaming about get to the bottom of the Epstein, get to the bottom of the Epstein. Steve, you got 15 hours of video footage of interviews with the guy. Okay? And here we are begging for a list that we know exists. We covered it yesterday. We have the evidence exhibit number. Okay? You've got 15 hours of footage. I bet you in those 15 hours of footage, Epstein, talking to you across the room, answers the very questions that you brought up in that clip I just played. So can we get some answers? Can we get some footage? What happened to your show, your movie, The Monsters? I saw the trailer. It looked compelling. I was anxious to see it. Elon Musk, he's declared Bannon's in the files. Yes. I mean, Bannon was coaching Epstein for media to do interviews before he was ever arrested. Okay? So now we know that Epstein was actually paying Steve Bannon. No one does media coaching for free. No one does consulting for free. So if there's anything that we know that's 100% is that there is a financial paper trail going from Epstein to Bannon for consulting on media. And then, of course, there's the whole documentary called The Monsters. So is Bannon in the Epstein files? Follow the money. Follow the money. Elon Musk, Doge, follow the money. Now, of course, I'm not saying that Steve Bannon was involved in any criminal activity. That's not anything close to what I'm saying. hired as a consultant for media coaching. But straight up, why the hell would you want to coach this guy? How much was that paycheck? Spare me. Good God. There's more. There is more, folks. We're not done. I want to bring up this. This is what I mentioned at the open here. Metadata shows the footage from Epstein's cell released by the DOJ was edited with Adobe Premiere Pro, stitched from 2 clips, and was saved 4 times. That's according to Wired magazine. And here we have this. Alan Dershowitz. We played this yesterday, but it bears repeating. Alan Dershowitz said he saw the entire Epstein list while proving his innocence.
This is not an opinion. This is a fact. I have seen. Remember, I was accused falsely, and Epstein, and ultimately I was completely cleared. The woman admitted that she may have mistook me for somebody else and withdrew all of her lawsuits. And so from day one, from the day I was accused, I said I want every document out because I knew every document would prove I was innocent. So let me tell you, I know for a fact documents are being suppressed. And they're being suppressed to protect individuals. I know the names of the individuals. I know why they're being suppressed. I know who's suppressing them. But I'm bound by confidentiality from a judge and cases, and I can't disclose what I know. But I hand to God, I know the names of people whose files are being suppressed in order to protect them, and that's wrong.
Just out of curiosity, without names, are these politicians, business leaders, both?
They're everything. And let me tell you, a lot of them are, at least one of them is somebody who was accused. Others are accusers. And the judges have said, if somebody calls themselves a victim, we're not going to give any information about them. But they may not be victims. They may be perpetrators. So we don't have information about false accusers. And we know there have been many false accusers who have accused innocent people for money. And those records are being deliberately, willfully suppressed. And they shouldn't be suppressed. If the accusation is allowed out, so should the material that diminishes the credibility of the accuser. We want total transparency on this. Every single document, no redaction. That's what I've said from day one. I waive any of my rights of privacy. Anything there is about me, I'm happy because it will be exculpatory, because I know I haven't touched a woman other than my wife from the day I met Jeffrey Epstein. I don't even hug people, but I was falsely accused and I was able to prove it. And I was able to prove it through documents. And I want other people to be able to disprove false accusations through documents. But these documents are being suppressed and withheld. This is not an opinion.
Yeah, that's where we're at. And Hillary Clinton's calling for internet censorship. FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino considers resigning over the Epstein fallout. This is all over the place. Alex Jones, AG Pam Bondi to take the blame for the Epstein case, whitewash political firestorm before her ultimate removal, according to FBI and White House intel sources.
Great knack for. Here's the intel I've got from multiple FBI sources and White House connected sources. One of them being Carl Serafin, who's really proven he's really dialed in and has a great knack for figuring out what's going on. There is orders obviously coming down from the top, Trump, to move on from the Epstein thing. And so when this fiasco came out with them giving mixed messages on the Epstein files, the first move was to blame Pam Bondi, who Susie Walls likes, Trump likes, but everybody else doesn't like, and reportedly is on her way out in the near future. At least people are pushing for that. Bongino will probably resign, if not now, soon. And then he can keep his honor and go back to the media. And Kash Patel is really the guy that the establishment likes. I'm not saying he's overall a bad person, but because of some of the issues and some of his congressional testimony that they could call perjury, that they still let slip through, that he's more and more what the Washington system actually likes. And so that's where we're at on all of this. I wanted to get Robert Barnes' take on what I'm saying here on air, and the fact that I don't believe this Epstein Streisand effect's going away. I think what's gone on the last few months, really intensifying the last week, is only going to get more intense now. That's my view. I think it's a giant distraction.
Yep, It's only going to get more intense. Get me Roger Stone right now. FBI Director Dan Bongino reportedly taking a brief leave of absence following the heated clash with Attorney General Pam Bondi. Gateway Pundit reports this 5 hours ago. Over 11,571 Epstein documents currently on appeal in one FOIA case. And guess who's involved? Maureen Comey. Comey. Where have I heard that name before? Let's dive deeper. The public was told no more Epstein files will be forthcoming. Officials implied the only Epstein-related documents left were CP that could, of course, not be released. The Justice Department had a memo released on Sunday. No further disclosure would be appropriate or warranted about the Epstein case. But one pending FOIA appeal by two litigants in New York that the DOJ's Maureen Comey is due to respond to later this month, has identified at least 11,571 more FBI documents alone related to the Epstein affair, almost all of them as of yet unreleased. This in addition to the estimated 3 million documents the government gave to Ghislaine Maxwell to prepare her defense, and they still are active in that case. The ongoing litigation relates to the FOIA request filed by media entities to release Epstein-related documents, litigation filed by Radar Online and James Robertson over a FOIA originally filed 8 years ago. 8 years. The 11,571 documents the FBI already admits are responsive to a search for Epstein documents. Here it is. Despite the FBI identifying at least 11,571 pages of responsive documents, 10,107 of those pages remain withheld nearly 21 years after the events at issue. So there are still 11,571 documents that the FBI declares they have on FOIA, and James Comey's daughter. Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, right. We're going to see anything from that. Here we have unfiltered boss. Pam Bondi is a bought and paid for political hack who has a history of making problems go away for people in power. That's exactly why Donald Trump made her his attorney general. What do we have here?
Against Trump. But as 10 News reporter Phil Buck explains, the two have a controversial history dating back to before Trump ever jumped into the presidential race.
Well, President Trump, he knows he has an ally in Pam Bondi, the Tampa native and the former state AJ. She's no stranger to scandals involving both of them. So let's pick things up in September 2013. Bondi's office announces she's looking into investigating complaints against Trump University and its affiliates. 4 days later, and Justice for All, which was a political group backing Bondi's re-election campaign, they get a check for $25,000 from the nonprofit Trump Foundation. A few weeks later, well, Bondi says, she's actually not going to file suit against Trump over those Trump University complaints. Fast forward now to March 2016, a campaign rally right here in Tampa. Bondi gets up on stage and endorses Donald Trump for president. The following week, Trump representatives, they acknowledged that illegal donation. They blamed it on a series of clerical errors. And then in July, Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, they file a complaint asking for an investigation into whether or not Bondi broke the law by not pursuing legal action against Trump University. A couple of months later, the Washington Post reports that the IRS fined the Trump Foundation for that illegal donation. Less than 2 weeks after that, September 13th, 2016, CRU then files criminal bribery complaints against both Trump and Bondi with the Department of Justice. So now let's fast forward another 2 years. That brings us up to 2018, December. Trump is now the president, and the Trump Foundation officially shuts down amid all of this controversy. And then we skip again ahead to just last week. On Wednesday, we start to hear reports coming out that Bondi is going to be joining the White House communications team. And then on Thursday of last week, a judge orders the president to pay $2 million for misusing his nonprofit, the Trump Foundation, to further his campaign for president. So those are all the dots. Doesn't take a whole lot of effort to connect them all.
Okay, so that video, that news report, that was a local news report from 2019. That shows you the relationship between Bondi and Trump and how far back it goes. Those are a hell of a lot of dots to connect. Continuing with our investigation here. Here we have Victor Davis Hanson with Glenn Beck breaking down what Vigilant Fox says might be the clearest, most damning explanation yet for Epstein's real role and why the files are not public.
What do you think this is really about?
I think it's pretty clear now that Epstein had no talent other than blackmail, and he was not a financier. He was not a captain of finance at all. What he did is he invited very powerful people to his island or his New York home, filmed them, and then he bribed them, and he shook them down and said, I'm going to be your quote unquote financial advisor, and in exchange for that, I'm not going to release all that stuff. And whether, there were some pretty big people. So why isn't it being exposed? Because I think there are people in the establishment. I don't know if they partook in his sick things he was doing, but they feel they have some association with him, and they have they gave him money to invest when there was no reason to hire someone like that. There were much better financial gurus, but he got $500 million somehow from people who were mainstream establishmentarians on the basis that he was going to blackmail him. I think that's how he made his money. And I think those names are numerous. And I think the Trump administration thought, well, we're going to release this, and there's some crazy people that we don't care about are going to be embarrassed. And then all of a sudden, they got a lot of calls and said, why are you doing this? I didn't do this. I went down to the island once. I was on a plane. I didn't touch anybody. And they're saying, and now you're going to release my name and I'll be guilty by, I'm not going to. And I think that's what's happening. There's a lot of people who were very powerful that were giving him money or were trafficking with him. Not necessarily all of them engaging in what he was doing, but just the association with him. And I think they're putting pressure on people. I really do.
What do you think this is really about?
Yeah, that makes a hell of a lot of sense. Now enter Mike. Oh wait, we found the missing footage, the missing 60 seconds. Yep, you could see Barney the dinosaur. I kid. Of course, I have to give you the disclaimer. It's AI you're watching there, Barney the dinosaur, and the missing minute of the Epstein footage. Okay. Now, 11 hours ago, Mike Benz enters the scene. If Pam Bondi's DOJ is serious about transparency around Epstein's intelligence ties, the DOJ will immediately make public the DOJ's OPR 2020 transcribed interview with Alex Acosta with a full set of questions about the intelligence issue, so we know exactly what was asked. Let's listen.
2019. I have this presentation I'm working on. That'll be up tomorrow. This is a placeholder. I'm just going to say what it is. The 2008 plea deal review that was done by the Justice Department's Office of Professional Responsibility can answer publicly once and for all the question that has hung over the Epstein case for the since 2019 as to whether or not the Vicky Ward story about Epstein belonged to intelligence, or at least that Alex Acosta, the then Justice Department official who gave the sweetheart deal to Epstein in 2008, was, quote, told to back off of Epstein because he belonged to intelligence and it was above his pay grade. The question about whether or not Vicky Ward's reporting was accurate has been a giant mystery that's hung over this. There are two separate lines of inquiry about the intelligence question. One is, was Jeffrey Epstein working with U.S. and or foreign intelligence agencies? And two, if yes, did that influence in any way the course of prosecutions of Epstein while he was carrying on these activities for so long? We don't know as a public what our own Justice Department has even investigated about that. But I can tell you where to look for it. All of this has been neatly compiled and remains private in the hands of the DOJ. And I'm going to explain this to you now. The short request, the super easy version, is this. See, this is a footnote. It's a footnote on page 169 of the 348-page November 2020 Office of Professional Responsibility review, the ethics review of the Alex Acosta plea deal from 2008. This footnote, that's all there is in public transparency about what the Justice Department asked Alex Acosta about Epstein's intelligence ties. Now, I'll be explaining in the video that I'll publish after I wake up why it is this footnote is so consequential. The short version of that is that the Vicky Ward article alleging that Alex Acosta told Trump's transition officials that he was told to back up Epstein because he belonged to intelligence, that came out on July 9th, 2019. The following day, Alex Acosta had a press conference, a public press conference, where he refused to either confirm or deny that reporting. And then the answer, we were supposed to be satisfied because of this very report, this months long, took them 9 months to do this report, that was supposed to answer all the lingering questions about Epstein in November 2020. For reasons I will explain in the formal video, the questions that were asked on this single half a page, and the only specificity being in a single footnote, were not responsive to the nature of the intelligence relationship that Epstein would have had. And we don't even know what Justice Department officials asked Alex Acosta.
So Mike Benz is on the case as well, breaking it down. Here is that moment. 6 hours ago, Red Wave Press posted that the FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino took a day off last Friday after clashing with Bondi over the dispute over the missing minute. The dispute blew up Wednesday over missing minute, the 10-hour surveillance footage.
JFK. Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file, along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein.
We just want the list, honey. Laura Loomer, 6 hours ago, Axios and Mark A. Caputo just confirmed my report about Dan Bongino taking the day off amid speculation he might resign as Deputy FBI Director over his frustration with Pam Bondi's botching the Epstein files, lack of transparency at the DOJ. What is she posting here? This is a video.
Out there. Listen,
here's Dan Bongino in 2023.
Listen, that Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal. Please do not let that story go. Keep your eye on this. Catherine Rumler, we need to keep the heat on this case, folks. There are a lot of people who are knee deep in the Washington swamp who are not telling you the truth about serious allegations out there that Epstein may have had video and audio of people out there doing things they shouldn't have been doing. And you should be asking yourself the question, how is it that all these people, the CIA director, the Obama fixer, Bill Clinton, all intersected paths with Jeffrey Epstein? Jeffrey Epstein isn't with us anymore, and nobody seems to want to talk about it outside of a few entrepreneurial media outlets saying, hey, this is a big deal.
He killed him.
And now we have Dan Bongino, flash forward, 2025.
You want me to? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
Listen,
okay. So which one is it? Now Dan Bongino, clearly pissed off about what's going on with the Pam Bondi's botched rollout here. Here's Alex about 24 hours ago digesting Trump's response.
Trump has responded. President Trump has now responded through a surrogate, Bill O'Reilly, to the Jeffrey Epstein case whitewash cover-up firestorm, now in its fourth day, engulfing the internet and threatening the very future of MAGA. But finally, Trump has responded. We're about to break it down right now.
Okay, so yes, Trump has responded. We do have that as well. We'll get to that. Here is Megyn Kelly. I think Pam Bondi was thirsty for attention. What?
Like, I think she was thirsty for attention. I think she was enjoying the hits on Fox, on Hannity, on Waters, in the middle of the day with John Roberts, and saying, like, I've got all the answers on Epstein. I've got all the juicy dish, and I'll be the one to give it to you, until she either found out that wasn't true and realized this is why attorneys general don't talk like this ever about their ongoing investigations, ever. You almost never hear from attorney general. It's the one person in any administration, Republican or Democrat, who you really can't get. There's only so much transparency you're supposed to get from attorney general, given the way criminal investigations work. And then realize, like, she had an oh shit moment of she's humiliated herself and the administration. Or again, I don't know, something else. Or it was real in the first place, and now she's doing the lying. This, I don't know the truth on.
Megyn Kelly. Let's see, where is that? Okay, here. Okay, here's Laura Loomer now.
That promise. I mean, look, at the end of the day, we were promised one thing, and we have not received that promise. So I hope that President Trump will fix this by firing Pam Bondi and committing to have real transparency at the DOJ. If Pam Bondi wants to be his friend or his ally on the outside, great, fine. But we need an attorney general who's going to be a real killer. We need an attorney general who isn't going to lie, who isn't going to be addicted to going on Fox News, and who isn't going to jeopardize midterm elections and cause President Trump to hemorrhage support from the base. I'm not saying that I'm not supporting the president. Of course, I support President Trump. I'm just saying that there are a lot of people online right now and a lot of people in the base who are saying that they're done because this is something that shouldn't even be a partisan issue. And I blame Pam Bondi. I really do. And Trump was the one who appointed her, and Trump can be the one to fire her if she doesn't have enough dignity and shame to resign, the same way that Alex Acosta resigned in 2019 when his own scandal regarding his involvement with the Epstein files became too big of a distraction for the Trump administration. I mean, look, at the end of the day,
Yeah, let's get to that. I know I have the clip here. Where is this it? Here it is. This is the reference that Alex had made just a few minutes ago.
There are a lot of names. I talked to President Trump man to man.
With respect, here's Bill O'Reilly.
I talked to President Trump man to man, eye to eye on St. Patrick's Day about this and the Kennedy files and the King files. It was all one conversation. And he said, and I agree, there are a lot of names associated with Epstein that had nothing to do with Epstein's conduct. They maybe had lunch with him or maybe had some correspondence for one thing or another. If that name gets out, those people are destroyed because there's not going to be any context. Media doesn't care about context. So you can't do that. You can't destroy human beings by putting out the files, whatever they may be. I talked to President Trump man to man.
So there is Bill O'Reilly weighing in, but this is the current state of affairs at the White House. There is the perfect visual representation of this moment in American history. There's only one person laughing, and that's Jeffrey Epstein. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is right now. So this is not just palace intrigue. This is the systematic destruction of trust in our institutions. When Elon Musk can casually drop that Steve Bannon is in the Epstein files, while the FBI denies they exist, we've crossed into dangerous territory. Either Elon's bluffing, which seems unlikely, or there's information being hidden at the highest levels. And the fact that forensic analysis proves that the Epstein footage was edited should send chills down every American spine. And Dan Bongino threatening to resign tells you everything. Even Trump's handpicked patriots cannot stomach what is happening behind closed doors. Now, this is bigger than party politics. This is about whether we will ever know the truth about the most explosive blackmail operation in history. So here is my question for you. Do you believe that the Epstein files will ever be fully released? Yes or no? Drop your answer below. And while you're at it, check out our merch shop linked in the description. Wear your defiance proudly. All right. We have a super chat of $5. And I want to make it a point that the amount of super chats at the moment do not reflect just how badass that I actually am. MAGA is an idea, and ideas are bulletproof, says Dave the Patriot. Thank you for that, Dave, for breaking the seal on the super chat jar of truth. Now, moving into our question. What is the answer? You guys said it was the Rosenbergs. The Rosenbergs, Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, were executed in 1953 for conspiracy to commit espionage, accused of passing atomic secrets to the USSR. Moving to our next historical question of the day. Which president abolished the gold standard, allowing the Fed unlimited money printing power? Ooh. That's, Nixon closed the gold window for good, and that would have sealed the fate. FDR confiscated the gold. Oh, that's a tough one. Damn. That's a great question. I'm gonna have to go with I'm gonna say Nixon on this one. But it's like what do you consider abolish, right? Is closing the gold window abolishing it? Okay, I'm gonna go with Nixon. I don't know the answer. I didn't look ahead. Find out after the segment. Weigh in the comments or the chat. Okay, moving into what is going on over at the Federal Reserve. Jerome Powell's reign at the Federal Reserve is over. What started as whispers in Washington has exploded into full-scale warfare between Trump and the Fed chair, who's been bleeding America dry. $2.5 billion. That's what Powell spent, turning the Fed into his personal palace while American families can't afford groceries. Private VIP elevators, rooftop gardens, luxury waterworks, all while running the first deficit in Fed history. And Trump just went nuclear, accusing Powell of costing our country billions by keeping rates artificially high. We should be 3 points lower. That's what Trump declared. Now, sources confirm Powell is preparing his exit. The Fed's iron grip on your money is finally breaking. The house of cards is collapsing, so keep watching. We're bringing you the receipts. And while Powell builds his billion-dollar palace at the Fed, American families are getting crushed by his highest interest rates. But there is a way to protect yourself from these reckless policies. The Tuttle Twins magazine teaches your kids the economic truths the establishment doesn't want them to know. How the Fed really works, why inflation destroys wealth, and how free markets create prosperity. Their monthly magazine uses comics, activities, and real-world lessons to arm children with knowledge. Freedom is never more than one generation from extinction. So subscribe a loved one for just $56 a year at TuttleTwins.com/next. Don't let your child be indoctrinated. Teach them to think. And remember, just buy it secretly for a grandson or a niece or a nephew. Let it show up in their mailbox every month. Costs nothing to plant seeds of liberty. That's TuttleTwins.com/next. Link below. So here's the breaking news of the hour. Insider paper. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell reportedly considering resigning. Now, Donald Trump has been taking a blowtorch to Jerome Powell. Oh, yes, he has. And now we have this Federal Housing Finance Agency news release for immediate release. July 11th, 2025. Statement from the chairman of the board of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, William J. Plute, on reports that Jerome Powell is considering resigning. Washington, D.C. I am encouraged by reports that Jerome Powell is considering resigning. I think this will be the right direction for America and the economy will boom. That's a pretty short press release right there. So what did President Trump have to say? Here we have, this was posted 9 hours ago. This appears to be, this is Donald Trump getting ready to board Marine One for the weekend. Check this out.
Plan to fire Jerome Powell, the Fed chair. No?
I think he's doing a terrible job.
You're going to fire him?
No. I think we should be 3 points lower interest rate. So you're It's costing our country a lot of money. We should be number one. And we're not. And that's because of Jerome Powell.
Did you ask?
Of interest. We are number one in the world. Look, I'll tell you a little simple language. 1 year ago, our country was a dead country. We were going nowhere except down. We were the laughing stock all over the world. And now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're number one everywhere, anywhere in the world. And that's all they're talking about is our country. 1 year ago, it was a dead country. Now it's the hottest country anywhere in the world.
Fire Jerome Powell.
That is Kit Marr from CNN who scored that question. Congratulations. I know just how hard that is to get those questions at Marine One. Here's more. Mario Naval also breaking the news. Fed Chair Jerome Powell might quit the Fed soon. The head of America's big mortgage agency says Powell leaving will be huge. Even predicts it could trigger a major boom. Here is more. I think this is another angle of that same question.
I think he's doing a terrible job. I think we should be, I think we should be 3 points lower interest rate. He's costing our country a lot of money. We should be number one.
Here we have more. This is Russ Vought on the Fed's palace-like renovation. What the freak? Palace-like renovation, $2.5 billion. That's what they're doing over there at the Fed.
Former official. The Fed has just mismanaged the institution, and we see that the extent to which they've been operating at losses for a number of years now. It's for the first time in their history. And then you just see a very practical example when you go to the nation's mall. You see the construction of this palace, in the words of one former official, upwards of $2.5 billion, massive cost overrun. And we want to make sure we have facts as to the largesse and the extent to which it's overrun, and the plans keep changing. The testimony that he has on the Hill keeps changing. And I think it just points to the fundamental mismanagement of the Fed under the chairman. The president is a builder. He's horrified by the notion of cost overruns. I go over to the Martin building fairly often in my role as CFPB director, and you see this largesse. You see the artwork in the Martin building. You see the extent to which they just have built and built with no consequence and no conscience with regard to the taxpayer. And now it's overrun, and you get the sense that they're talking about the gardens on the terrace, the waterworks outside, the private VIP elevators. This is wrong. The Fed has just...
Yeah, this is wrong. Here's more. The bottom line. D. Roy Murdoch reacts to OMB Director Russ Vought calling out the Fed Chair Jerome Powell for the huge over-budget renovations.
Aspect of it is new to me.
He's not at all. And, it seems like when Biden was running for re-election, or at least when he dropped out of the race, they were cutting rates, which is obviously good for Biden. And then Trump gets in like, oh, we're not going to cut rates, even though inflation's been coming down. So, yes, that does seem political. The feather bedding aspect of it is new to me. I didn't know about this rooftop garden and all this palatial kind of approach. I think we should go even further, and that is to audit the Fed, top to bottom. Audit everything these guys have done since 1916, 17, whenever they got started. I don't think that's ever been done. God only knows what has gone on in that building for the last 110 years. He's not at all.
Audit the Fed. How about end the Fed? Can we do that? Let's just do that. Audit them, prove they're full of it, and then shut them down. Here's more with the White House OMB director, Russ Vought.
The president's been very clear. He's concerned with the tight policy that the chairman has had. He thinks he's generally been too late. That's our view. And we saw Chairman Powell, he was too late to recognize inflation, and now he's too late to lower rates. The president's been very clear. He's concerned
Too late. Here's more. Russ Vought.
Spending were reduced. The tariffs have not led to inflation, as all the experts said that they would. We're cutting spending. We're reducing the deficit. The tariffs are bringing in incredible amounts of revenue, $3 trillion over 10 years and counting. With those are all figures that come from the pause from Liberation Day. So fiscally, we are very much on the mend. And our point is we want to see the benefits of a growing economy flow to all Americans. And I know that there are people who are still stuck in mortgages with high rates that they would love to be able to go to a lower level. I would love to see lower rates to be able to improve our fiscal situation. I want to see the Fed get back to not losing money every year so we can actually get remittances to the United States Treasury and improve our deficit. So look, at every step of the way, we have problems with regard to the management of the Fed. He's too late, and he's incredibly expensive with regard to his building project, and we're going to get to the bottom of that.
We're going to get to the bottom of it. Well, if he resigns, what are you going to get to the bottom of? Hopefully we will, though. So it looks like Powell's on the way out. President Trump has been hammering him for weeks and weeks. At this week's cabinet meeting, he was sitting across the table from the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, and he said what? He looked at him and goes, you might be a good one. So I think we're going to probably see, within the next 7 days or so, Powell step down, Bessent step in, be appointed, and hopefully we'll see some rates coming down. We'll see that the housing market gets caught on fire, and we can continue to make America great again. So if you got value for this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is what accountability looks like. For too long, the Federal Reserve has operated like an untouchable kingdom, printing money, manipulating rates, and destroying the purchasing power of every dollar in your pocket. Powell's $2.5 billion palace renovation while running historic deficits? Well, that's not mismanagement. That's contempt for the American people. And Trump calling him out publicly changes everything. When the president says we should be 3 points lower on rates, he's talking about real relief for real families. Mortgages, car loans, credit cards, everything that's crushing middle America right now. So Powell's resignation isn't just personal change. It's the first crack in the Fed's armor. And Russ Vought, he said it best, audit the Fed. Make them answer for every decision, every dollar, every deliberate policy that enriched Wall Street while Main Street suffered. So here is my question. Should Trump end the Federal Reserve completely? Yes or no? Grab your Next News gear at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Okay, it's Friday, and we are only $5 deep in the Super Chat jar. What's up, guys? I'm not worthy of your tips today. What do I gotta do? What do I gotta do to get your Super Chats today? What does Gary have to do? Well, let's find out the answer to the trivia question. I said Nixon. Yes, Nixon. Yes, you guys said too, yes. President Nixon ended the gold standard in 1971, severing the dollar's link to gold and giving the Fed unlimited money printing power. Wow. Awesome. Okay, cool. All right. We got it. We won, guys. We won that round. But will you win the next one is the big question. Which 14th century pandemic killed 1/3 of Europe's population and spread via flea-infected rats? Was it A, the Spanish flu, B, the Black Death, C, smallpox, or D, cholera? 14th century, I'm going with the Black Death on this one. What up, guys? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You have answered the call. Marshmallow says, Gary, here you go. Here you go, buddy. Here you go. And he puts $10 in the jar. Thank you, sir, for that. And then AJ Cruz is like, all right, Franchi, I'll give you $2. Thank you, sir. The money's coming in now. All right. Just like the Fed. Jody, we love and appreciate you, Gary. Thank you, Jody. That was $5 from Jody. Thank you so much. And then we have God is Good All the Time. Drain the Swamp, Gary. $2 right there. Boom. It's Friday, guys. It's been a hell of a long week. But the news has been fire. It's been fire this week, hasn't it? Well, the fire never goes away. Remember what Billy Joel said? We didn't start the fire. It's been burning since the world's been turning. We didn't start the fire. Okay, sorry. Sorry, guys. Okay. Let's get serious for a minute here because there's another fire burning in Arizona. The Black Death has just returned to America. Not a metaphor, not hyperbole, actual bubonic plague. The disease that wiped out 1/3 of Europe just killed somebody in Arizona. Prairie dogs are dropping dead, and fleas carrying Yersinia pestis. Emergency rooms confirming the horror in modern Flagstaff. But here's what should make your blood run cold. Dr. Peter Hotez predicted this. December 2024, he warned that multiple viruses will come crashing down right when Trump took office. Coincidence? The same Hotez who pushed endless COVID shots while healthy runners like Celeste got jabbed 3 times. Well, the same Hotez now profits from fear. Now, plague appears exactly when he said that it would. They're not done yet, folks. Keep watching. When mysterious illness emerge and health officials push their agenda, your body needs real protection. Not from their shots, but from aging itself. Ageless multi-collagen rebuilds with time tears down, and by age 40, your collagen drops dramatically, causing wrinkles, joint pain, and weak nails. This formula contains 5 types of collagen from 4 premium sources, all hydrolyzed for maximum absorption. No clumping, no odor. Just mix it in your coffee and watch your skin transform. No GMOs, no artificial ingredients, no hormones. RFK Jr. would certainly agree. This is for you. Plus, every order feeds hungry children through NoKidHungry.org. But the website you can get it is healthwithgary.com for 51% off, free shipping, and you can feel confident in your skin again. That's healthwithgary.com. Okay, so what is going on? Victim dies from the plague in Arizona. It's all over the web right now. Coconino County recently reported a prairie dog die-off near Flagstaff, Arizona, indicating the possibility of plague infection. This release was sent out on Monday, which I've been told is after the patient infected from plague died. Still waiting for comment from the county. That is Trenton Hooker, 19 hours ago. Trenton Hooker is executive producer for Fox 10 Phoenix. Emmy and regional Edward R. Murrow award-winning journalist. So he caught that news. Prairie dog die-off reported in Townsend and Winona area. Trust No One says, so now we have people with the plague showing up in Arizona. Who knew this would be the end result of unfettered immigration? Well, you think about that for a second. How many millions of people came across this country, came across this border, invaded during the Biden administration, never got checked? I mean, isn't there don't you have to be like not diseased or something when you come across the border? Isn't there like a rule? But not if you just across the Rio Grande. Black Betty, 11 hours ago, says Yersinia? I don't know what the fuck. Yersinia pestis is a bacterium that causes the disease known as plague, which has historically led to devastating pandemics like the Black Death. It primarily spreads through flea bites and can take three forms: bubonic, septicemic, and pneumonic. According to Northern Arizona Healthcare, the person showed up with symptoms at the Flagstaff Medical Center and died later that day. We have a news report on this.
Underneath it, from the outside, this burrow looks boring, but underneath its surface is the home of hundreds to thousands of prairie dogs. This colony is happy and healthy, but Coconino health officials say a colony east of Flagstaff is dying off from the plague. You can find them in the fields around Flagstaff, popping their little heads up and running for their burrows when they see you coming. Eve Walters, Coconino Health and Human Services Deputy Director, says besides being cute, these prairie dogs play an important role in our ecosystem.
They're considered a keystone animal in the ecosystem. So they're a food source for many other animals. Their burrows actually are used by other animals as homes.
However, Walters says they are also indicator species for disease.
Kind of like the canary in the coal mine, when we see a die-off of prairie dogs, it tells us that something else is going on, and usually that something is indicative of plague.
Their team monitors colony activity for signs of die-offs from disease. But this time, a property owner in Winona, east of Flagstaff, noticed something wrong with his prairie dogs.
There's little heads popping up all over, and suddenly nothing is happening. That tells us that we have a problem.
She says the plague can be spread by fleas, contact with the prairie dogs, or even from pets.
Pets can be bitten by infected fleas. They get infected, they bring it home.
If not treated, the plague can be deadly. But Walters says with modern medicine and early detection, it's treatable. Now, the county is dusting the burrows with medicine to kill off the plague and monitoring surrounding colonies to make sure it doesn't spread.
It's more about having awareness than it is about having fear around those things. The more that people can educate themselves, the better off we are.
Reporting in Flagstaff, Mason Carroll for Arizona's Family. From the outs.
So should we be concerned about prairie dogs, or should we be concerned about this guy?
We have all this sharp rise more.
Dr. Peter Hotez, a close affiliate of Bill Gates, claimed that several viruses would come crashing down on Donald Trump. He said this December of 2024. I remember reporting on it, specifically issuing the warning. And now we have the plague showing up in Arizona. Listen.
Down on more. Then we have all this sharp rise in vaccine preventable diseases going up because of, in part, the anti-vaccine activism that's so prominent right now. We have a 5-fold rise in pertussis cases, whooping cough over the last year, 15 measles outbreaks this year. We've got polio that's been in the wastewater in New York State. All that's going to come crashing down on January 21st on the Trump administration. We need a really, really good team to be able to handle this.
Oh, is it all going to come crashing down, or is it crashing down right now? Maybe you're about 6 months, 7 months too late. Let's listen to my friend Dr. Sherry Tenpenny. If there's one woman who freaking gets it, it is this woman right here. She's weighing in on that very statement that Hotez said. Dr. Peter Hotez expressed concerns about potential public health threats that could emerge around Donald Trump's inauguration.
concerned. Well, good morning, everyone. Dr. Sherry Tenpenny here from Cleveland, Ohio. I wanted to bring to your attention that Dr. Peter Hotez is in the news again talking about his crystal ball. And his crystal ball says on January 21st, H5N1, the bird flu pandemic will begin. So that means it's either intentionally released, it's been released with gain of function properties, which is illegal, or he is just trying to turn the crank and the fear factors to get everybody concerned about what might happen again in the future. So I want to remind everyone to keep in the back of your head, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, it ain't going to happen. Keep your vitamin D level up above 80. Keep vitamin C on board to fight off the infections. And if you have access, keep a stash of ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine in your house because they...
Okay. So definitely listen to Dr. Sherry Tenpenny. So let's recap. Here we have on September 13th of 2023... Let's recap. To date, Hotez has received $4.2 million from Mexican billionaire Carlos Slim's foundation, $9.6 million from Dr. Fauci's NIAID, $44 million from the Gates Foundation. He continues to maintain close relationships with pharmaceutical giants like Pfizer and Eli Lilly. Follow the money, baby. Here we have more.
In 2000. We've had now 3 major coronavirus epidemics in this century. We had the original severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS in 2001, and then Middle Eastern respiratory syndrome in 2012. Now COVID-19 starting in 2019 and just maybe winding down just now. So we know that this is going to be a big issue, and it's happening because these viruses are circulating in bats. Bats are coming into closer contact with people due to climate change and urbanization. So that's going to have to be addressed as well, because I'm expecting we'll have a 4th major coronavirus probably in the next few years, given that current pace. So how we deal with all of these catastrophic cardiorespiratory virus pathogens, we've had now.
If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. They told us the age of plagues was over. Modern medicine conquered it all. Yet here we are, bubonic plague in Arizona, killing Americans, while pandemic prophets like Hotez practically celebrate their predictions coming true. This is not random. When someone forecasts viruses crashing down on a specific date and then medieval diseases suddenly reappear, we're not dealing with coincidence. We're dealing with orchestration. Remember how they use COVID for control? Imagine what they'll do with the Black Death. Same experts who destroyed our economy, massacred our children, and mandated experimental shots are already preparing their next act. Hotez dismissed vitamins, exercise, everything except his precious elixirs administered by needles. And now plague arrives right on schedule. They create the crisis, sell the solution, and we suffer the consequences. So here's the question. Do you believe that this plague outbreak is naturally occurring? Yes or no? And if you want to support our work, you can hit our merch shop and wear your resistance. Shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. We got Alligator Alcatraz. We got President Otto Penn and our American Badass series. Check it out and trigger a liberal today at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Oh, yeah, baby. It's raining cash. Where's my cash gun? Marshmallow dropping some more. What's up? Dropping $10 in the jar. Do I have a $10 bill here? Do I? Yes, I do. $10 from the Marshmallow. And we got Bad Bimmer, $1.99. We'll round that up to a solid 2. He says Federal Reserve. That's about right. Okay, let's find out the answer to that question, shall we? You guys said it was the Black Death. Congratulations. Black Death, the bubonic plague pandemic of 1347 to 1351 killed an estimated 75 to 200 million people across Europe, spread by flea-infested rats. There you go. All right, moving right along to our next trivia question and our topic of the day. Which 1942 executive order forced 120,000 Japanese Americans into internment camps? Was it Order A? Was A, Order 8802, B, Order 9066, Order 9981, or Order 10925? Well, that's something. I did a whole documentary film on Japanese internment camps, but I just can't recall what executive order it was. I'm going to go 9066. That's just where I'm going. Maybe it's because of 66, Order 66, that killed all the Jedis. Whatever. We'll see. We'll find out when we get back. Ten children, 8 unaccompanied, found working in a marijuana farm in California like slaves. Now, this is not happening in a third world country. This is Gavin Newsom's backyard. While he tweets about kids crying from tear gas, real children are being trafficked, exploited, and forced into cartel labor camps disguised as pot farms. ICE and CBP raided the Camarillo facility yesterday, and what they found should haunt every American. But instead of gratitude, federal agents were attacked, shots reportedly fired, pro-ICE citizens beaten by mobs, and Tom Homan confirms we're still missing over 300,000 children who crossed Biden's open border. Where are they? Working fields? Worse? This is the human cost of sanctuary state policies, children paying the price for political virtue signaling. Keep watching. What you're going to find out next is going to shock the hell out of you. And while children labor on cartel farms, our own kids face a different threat: indoctrination. And that's why patriots are turning to Patriot Be Best, where education meets action. Did you know American bee population directly impacts our food security? When bees disappear, crops fail. When crops fail, nations fail. Patriot Be Best created an educational digest teaching families about this critical issue. For just 17 cents a day, you will support bee restoration and this show. This veteran-owned business, it focuses on preserving both our bee population and our republic. So visit patriotbebest.com. Use code NEXTNEWS for 25% off. Join the hive, catch the buzz, and protect our future. You'll find a link below. And we thank them for their sponsorship of this program. All right. So what the hell is happening in California? Breaking news. The weed farm that was raided by ICE agents yesterday, what? Is a donor for Gavin Newsom. It's now officially under investigation for child labor violations. Here is the Fox News headline: Newsom's donor's cannabis farm under federal investigation for child labor violations. Ha! That's where Gavin Newsom's getting his donor money. Can't make this up. Here we have Stephen Miller, one of my favorite members of the Trump administration, 4 hours ago on Fox News, talking about the hundreds of thousands of children in California.
Which are heinous. Well, first of all, the president has been clear and consistent in saying that he's going to fight labor trafficking and child trafficking. And this marijuana plantation is a clear-cut example of labor trafficking and child trafficking, which are heinous crimes. Additionally, I don't know of anybody except the governor of California who would argue.
What? Are you really going to start spinning on me now? You're really going to start buffering?
And this marijuana plantation is a clear-cut example of labor trafficking and child trafficking, which are heinous crimes. Additionally, I don't know of anybody except the governor of California who would argue
look at that,
that a marijuana plantation is an essential component of America's food supply chain. And everywhere you look in California, you see industrial child exploitation on a massive scale, an industrial scale. There are likely hundreds of thousands of children in California who are being exploited for their labor or sexually exploited as part of sex trafficking. This administration is liberating these children and helping reunify them with their parents back in their home country. What the Biden administration did with respect to child trafficking is one of the great crimes in human history. Over 500,000 children were illegally trafficked into the country under the previous administration. When we've gone and looked for these children, Martha, the addresses that the U.S. government provided, in other words, the records that the government kept under Joe Biden, are all fake. Nobody ever checked if the addresses were real. Nobody ever checked if the sponsors were real. Nobody ever checked if they were really even relatives or parents or relations or safe. We recently recovered a young illegal alien, for example, who had been raped repeatedly by the adult male that the Biden administration handed to her. She was under constant video surveillance and was coached exactly what to say if an officer ever knocked on her door so that she would never be rescued. We have example after example. We go to homes, 13, 14, 15-year-old children who are raped on a daily basis because the Biden administration, because the Democrat Party chose to traffic them into this country. So we will be unrelenting in our effort to free these kids.
Yeah, this is a huge story, and the Biden administration tried to push them out of these holding facilities at the border and into the arms of people who were picking them up. There were some cases where one person picked up 150 children. So I doubt very much that was their uncle.
Not all their children. Well, first of all,
okay, let's go into the raid now. Okay. Here is the CBP Commissioner, Rodney Scott, posted, here's some breaking news. 10 juveniles were found at this marijuana facility, all illegal aliens, 8 of them unaccompanied. It's now under investigation for child labor violations. This is Newsom's, California. Okay? But here's what's funny. Look at this. Gavin Newsom posting this 23 hours ago. Kids running from tear gas, crying on the phone because their mother was just taken from the feds. Trump calls me new scum, but he's the real scum.
Do not run! Do not run! Stay calm! They took your mom?
I mean, they're heartbreaking images. No question about that. But those images are the direct result of Joe Biden's policies. So try to, point the finger at Donald Trump and Tom Homan for enforcing the law is irresponsible. Here we have this. Matthew Smith writes, I am totally rooting for ICE. I want more ICE. Camarillo, California, marijuana farm being raided today by our heroes. Protesting ICE is anti-American and not patriotic whatsoever. The pot farmers who employ the illegals need to be held accountable.
Has completed their keeps going back and forth. Federal agents will move them down the street. Then the protesters start advancing back closer to the agents, and the agents have to redeploy gas over and over again. And this is going to continue until either the protesters leave or ICE is down here and has completed their operation here at the farm. But
so here's the irony of what you're seeing right here. Here's the irony. I just showed you what Gavin Newsom posted. He's trying to pull at the heartstrings of Californians and people across the world. Footage from this raid. Raid of a marijuana farm. Just happens to be the donor to Gavin Newsom. Just think about that for a second. Gavin Newsom is trying to get all emotional with you, posting this footage. And yes, it hurts me to watch humans suffer like that. But actions have consequences. Policies have consequences. Gavin Newsom happily accepted money from the man who runs this marijuana farm, who employed these people, who then became the subject of an ICE raid. This is the America that we're in. That's California.
So many people that have been detained and have yet to be possibly loaded onto buses here at the property. So this could carry on for quite a while longer.
Rich, it's really interesting because these raids that we've seen in the last month and a half or so, there's typically the federal agents, ICE agents, then there are the protesters, then there are the people who are being detained. But typically some form of local law enforcement shows up to, like to your point, protect the firefighters or protect the paramedics or just keep the peace in general. Interesting that they haven't shown up for this one.
It is. We're also in a different county. We've seen these happen in different counties, different cities, whether it's, the sheriff's department that is the authority in the area, or it's local to the police department, like the LAPD. So different policies, but in general, across the board, the local authorities have said that they don't wish to be engaged in what is happening down here with the immigration enforcement. And I think that they are doing everything they can to, the sheriff's department here in Ventura County is doing what they can to not actively get involved in the situation down here. And
or maybe they're just appeasing the governor's demands. Don't get involved. Well, here is Tom Homan. People are welcome to protest, but they can't cross that line. Here he is talking about that very raid at the cannabis farm by Gavin Newsom's donor.
End up with a lawsuit. People are welcome to protest. They have their First Amendment rights, grew up, but they can't cross that line. They can't impede us from doing our job. That's a felony. They certainly can't put hands on an agent. That's a felony. So what happened in California is just another example of protests becoming criminals. And they've been emboldened by even members of Congress who compare ICE to Nazis and racists and terrorists. I mean, the rhetoric is so high, and I said 2 months ago, it's going to end up with a loss of life. And we had one the other day in Texas, and it's not over. I mean, the rhetoric has to end. ICE agents are simply enforcing the law that members of Congress enacted, that they wrote, they created, and was signed by the president. If people want to complain about the job ICE is doing, go complain to Congress, because we're enforcing the laws they enacted. We're doing our job.
We are doing our job. Now, apparently, an ABC LA affiliate says a protester fired some sort of gun at ICE during the raid, and this man was called a domestic terrorist for walking into an open Capitol on January 6th.
This happened this afternoon.
So ICE is currently raiding a marijuana farm in California, and listen to how the fake media describes someone who shot at ICE. This is crazy.
Take a look at this video right here. It appears a protester fired some kind of gun at federal agents. This happened this afternoon. It was a really chaotic scene at the time. A lot of smoke was being launched at the protesters. And again, it appears a protester fired back with that weapon. It looks like he fired at least a couple of times. We have not heard about any agents being hurt.
Dude, I walked into an open Capitol on January 6th and was smeared as a domestic terrorist, even though I was nonviolent, didn't hurt anybody, and literally walked through the doors of cops waving me in. And I was called a domestic terrorist along with many other people that just walked into the Capitol on January 6th. These people are literally calling this guy a protester still and saying that he shot some kind of gun. Man, you really do not hate the media enough. So ICE is currently raiding a marijuana farm in...
Yeah, that's the media for you, though. Love how they spin this stuff. Here we have more. This is from Homeland Security Department. Biden administration lost 300,000 unaccompanied children. Many of these innocent children trafficked and exploited. And let's go and listen in to this report.
300,000. Is there any update on finding those children? And in what cases have you been tracking these kids being forced to work underage and in violation of labor law?
Tiana, you're absolutely right. Under the Biden administration, it was about 300,000 unaccompanied children who were lost in the system. I think it's an untold story that needs to be shared widely. Undersecretary Noem and HHS, we are working diligently to find these children. So far, about 5,000 unaccompanied children have been found and reunited with a safe guardian or relative, but we're working hard to make sure that number is pumped up and we get these children to safety. It's so wrong what's happened, and it is our top priority, whether it be in LA, Chicago, New York, or otherwise, to make sure we are stopping any sort of exploitation of children.
Moving right along. Here we have Representative Salud Carvajal was rejected on Thursday when he tried to enter the marijuana field in Carpinteria, California, after immigration officers conducted a raid of the grow site.
Entry when he tried. This here is new video from Carpinteria, where another federal law enforcement operation was taking place at a glass house farm location. Congressman Salud Carbajal was denied entry when he tried to get past federal agents into the farm. In a statement, Carbajal called this completely unacceptable and said that he would be demanding answers from Homeland Security. A large crowd gathered at Foothill and Casitas Pass Road for about 2 hours. 10 people were reportedly.
A Fox reporter laughs as he describes ICE supporter who showed up yesterday at the California marijuana farm being accosted, water dumped at him, beaten by far-left foreign extremists.
And that supporter was not really met with a lot of other support. You see him basically being, have some water look like dumped on him and being taunted. More water thrown, people waving a Mexican flag in his face as they walk through America.
They wanted to get him out of here.
The guy punched?
It looked like
Wow.
It got nasty. It got nasty. We followed it for a while because we wanted to keep an eye on him. He was by himself.
Wow.
And I didn't see the beginning of it, but I did see when people started talking back to him, and he started trying to make it to his car, and as you can see, it got quite nasty. At one point, people were going after him. Now, I have to say that's the only person like that we have seen here, and he did make it to his car. Near the end, people were saying, let him go, let him go. We don't want to hurt somebody. We don't want to be seen like this. So even within the protesters, there's that dissent of, don't get violent, don't overdo it. But definitely, when it is hot like it is today, when people are tired, things are going to happen. But the man did get...
Unbelievable. That's where we're at. Here is more on that. I'm home and going off on the foreign child labor.
But Tom, it strikes me unbelievable that the Democrats are not on board. When you look at this raid, there were 10 juveniles that were illegally brought across the border. You and I covered this under the Biden administration. I was down in Texas. We encountered 8, 10-year-old, 12-year-olds coming across with just a name and an address and a phone number on their necks. The cartel ruthlessly sending them across. And yet now we know that 10 of them, 8 of which were unaccompanied minors working illegally in a marijuana farm. And your agents go in and rescue them, essentially. And yet there is violent resistance to that. Does that upset you?
It certainly upsets me, and like I said, the work men and women of ICE are doing is incredible. Look, we're looking for over 300,000 missing children. We've already found 10,000. Have you heard that anywhere? No, the media is simply not covering it. And look, this should be a nonpartisan issue. Arresting public safety threats and national security threats, everybody be all on the same page on that. Rescuing children, it should be a nonpartisan issue. Everybody should be in lockstep on that, but they're not. The media is lying. The Democrats they don't want President Trump to be successful. I got news for them. We are being successful. Every illegal alien public safety threat we arrest makes this country safer. Every national security threat we take off the street and deport makes us safer. And we're rescuing thousands of children. The lives saved every day by ICE, the lives saved every day by Border Patrol, are in the hundreds. So it's the only thing I can think of, Griff, if they hate President Trump more than they love their community. They hate President Trump more than they want, safe communities. And there's just no other excuse why this is not, why this has become a partisan issue to take public safety threats off the street.
And here is some more footage from that. Look at this. Look at what they're doing. They are just they're throwing rocks at these cars. After yesterday's ICE raid on a cartel-run illegal marijuana farm in California, underage kids were found working slave-like conditions, disturbing patterns emerging. Look at these. Look at what they're doing to these guys. Gavin Newsom's donor. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. This is modern slavery on American soil. While Democrats scream about hysterical historical injustices they're enabling actual child trafficking through their sanctuary policies. Those 10 kids found yesterday, they're the lucky ones. Tom Homan says 300,000 are still missing, vanished into a black market of exploitation that Gavin Newsom's policies created and protect. When ICE tries to rescue children from cartel slavery, they're attacked by mobs, shot at by protesters, and demonized by the media. When a Mexican-born congressman tries to interfere with a federal raid on a crime scene, he's treated like a hero. This is not immigration. It's organized crime using children as currency. And every sanctuary city mayor, every open border politician has blood on their hands. They know where these kids end up. They just don't care. So here's the question. Should harboring unaccompanied minors for labor be prosecuted as human trafficking? Yes or no? You can support truth grabbing some merch at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Okay, looks like we got another Tom B4 2010 spot dropped into the jar of truth. The jar of justice. The jar, where is the, do I have an extra $10 bill here? I just got lazy and just left the money in there, so I'm just going to go and pull it from the stack of fake money. Don't be fooled. This is funny money. For motion picture purposes only. Let's see, can we zoom in on that? Let's see if we can do a zoom. Zoom? Zoom. Here we go. Zoom. We're going closer and closer and closer. There it is. You can see. Can you see it? This is what fake money looks like. Isn't that wild? For motion picture purposes only. Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, enough of that. Okay, this goes into the jar. Thank you very much. Tom B420. He says, thanks, Gary and team N3 for life. Okay, now where are we going from here? Yes, we are going to answer the question. Sorry, I've got like a little bit of a headache kind of developing here. I'm trying to fight it. I need to hydrate more. Maybe it's time to go in the hot tub. Maybe after the show. Have a nice soak. What do you say? What do you think? Hot tub party? Okay, and the answer is order 9066. I was right. My gut instinct said 9066. You guys said it as well. Order 9066. President FDR's Executive Order 9066 authorized the forced relocation and incarceration of Japanese Americans during World War II. Moving right along. Oh, what's up? We got $5 coming through from another super chatter. Keep up the great work, Gary. You rock. Smeepa 1745. That's another $5 right there. We're at $50.98. We only need $49 to break 100 on this Friday. Come on. Don't you want to give Gary some drinking money for the weekend? All right, which comic book hero first appeared in 1938, fighting corruption and promoting American values? Was it A, Batman, B, Captain America, C, Superman, or D, Wonder Woman? I mean, Superman, I'm going with C just because I know what the topic is next. You know, that's just what I'm going with. So you guys can answer in the chat, in the comments, or otherwise. And we're looking at woke Superman. Oh, yes. Okay. They have finally done it. Hollywood has murdered Superman. Not with kryptonite, but with wokeness. James Gunn. Brian, let's get that timer started, and we'll start over. I know you're working on a lot of things here. I appreciate you, Brian. We'll start from the top. They've finally done it. Hollywood has murdered Superman, not with kryptonite, but with wokeness. James Gunn just transformed the ultimate American hero into a sniveling immigrant, apologist, who wants you to look inward at your privilege. Test audience hated it. Every male character portrayed as weak, fragile, and emotionally broken. The Man of Steel doesn't have to save the day anymore. He just asks you how you feel about being saved. This is not creative interpretation. It's cultural assassination. Okay, Superman was created by two Jewish immigrants who loved America, so they built him as the ultimate defender of our values, truth, justice, and the American way. Now Gunn's brother calls critics un-American for rejecting their propaganda. They're not just ruining a movie, they're erasing our mythology. Keep watching. This is going to blow your mind. And while Hollywood rewrites our heroes, the Tuttle twins are creating new ones. Heroes who understand freedom, personal responsibility, and American values. Now, their monthly magazine doesn't just entertain, it educates through comics, activities, and real stories. The kids learn why Superman originally stood for the American way, not globalist guilt. They'll discover how free markets work, why individual liberty matters, and how to think critically when everyone else follows the crowd. Remember, freedom is never more than one generation from extinction, so don't let Hollywood indoctrinate your children with weak, apologetic role models. Subscribe a loved one for just $56 a year at TuttleTwins.com/next. Raise heroes, not victims. And speaking of heroes, the White House must have got the memo on the new woke Superman. So we get this. 22 hours ago, the White House posted this. The symbol of hope, truth, justice, and the American way, Superman Trump. How cool is that, right? They literally made a Superman poster with Donald Trump. The real Superman, right? Okay, so there's a lot of commentary. People are freaking out over this new Superman. There's a lot to break down here. So we might as well just start at the top. This guy here, Lyle Culpepper. This is Lyle Culpepper's spoiler-free review of Superman. Do you think it was too woke? I mean, this guy looks kind of wokey to me. Let's find out.
Adorable. I just saw the new Superman movie and there's so much to unpack, so let's get into it. Okay, the suit is not doing it for me. I don't like the collar, I don't like the S, it's just not it. People are also saying the movie is too woke because they made Clark/Superman non-binary in this version, which is a little bit of a departure from the comics. And then there's a whole romantic subplot with Clark and Jimmy on their way to interview Vice President Bernie Sanders, which is like adorable and playful, but also so powerful. Trust me, it just works. We're also seeing Nicholas Holt's interpretation of Lex Luthor as like a bald Ben Shapiro, and they also cast Bibi Netanyahu in a cameo to play Lex's father, Lex Luthor Sr. I will say they did an amazing job honoring the immigrant story, with Clark/Superman playing a young Palestinian refugee who crashes to Earth on a ballistic missile. The action is incredible. I love the final battle at Al-Aqsa and the scene where Superman spins the world backwards so he can turn back time and save George Floyd. Literally brought me to tears. It was incredible. I also thought it was really bold to have Lois Lane played by a trans actor and Perry White, the head of the Daily Planet, played by Bill Cosby, I thought was a great choice. Overall, I loved it, and I loved that they made the Daily Planet just a pop-up encampment on the Barnard University campus. That was so fun. So go see Superman on July 11th. I just saw the new Superman movie, and there's so much to unpack.
Obviously satire, but probably not too far from the truth. Here's Gary Peterson. Says Superman has gone woke and abandoned his small-town values.
Midwestern boy. Superman has sadly gone woke as James Gunn has turned the Man of Steel into a space immigrant instead of a good Midwestern boy from Kentucky. If I was a resident of the beautiful town of Smallville, I'd boycott the movie at all costs. A real Superman would save our country by using his boot to crush the skulls of his enemies and then putting a bullet in their head for safe measure. Instead, he's too busy fighting the heroic blue-collar billionaire Lex Luthor, even while Lex is trying to bring gas prices down while also battling slander online. If Lex Luthor were really on the Epstein client list, Superman would have released it a long time ago. Plus, dogs can't fly, because if they did, the government would use them for cloud seeding purposes to rain feces on us good, God-fearing red states. Superman has sadly gone woke.
These takes are insane. Okay, here we go. This is Salem News Channel. 72 hours ago, director James Gunn just made Superman woke, calling him an immigrant.
Lessons from Snow White. He claims Superman's an immigrant. These people are so goofy. They're such. His name is James Gunn. I guess he wants the movie to tank. I mean, did they learn any lessons from Snow White when the actress from Snow White was popping off and that movie tanked? Don't you think a movie director's job is to try to help sell tickets? Who's going to go see woke Superman? He's an immigrant, don't you know? He claims Superman's an immigrant.
I mean, I don't want to go see this movie, but I kind of want to see just how bad it is. That's kind of my curiosity. I want to see just how horrible they destroyed him. Okay, here we have, wasn't eager for the movie. Let's see what this guy says. Wasn't eager for the movie, but like the New York City Dem mayoral debate, I'm pretty sure this is going to have the opposite effect these a-holes are aiming for. It makes me want to check out the movie even more. These news anchors are idiots. Fox News, The Five, super woke Superman. Okay, so let's see what they're saying on The Five.
Gee, I mean, with...
Is Superman super woke? James Gunn, the director of the latest reboot movie, said, quote, Superman is the story of America, an immigrant that came from other places and populated the country. But for me, it is mostly a story that says basic human kindness is a value and is something we have.
Okay, wait a minute. Superman is the story of America. An immigrant that came from other places and populated the country. Come on, guys. Did Superman have any kids? Did he populate anything? I don't recall Superman having any offspring. I mean, his super sperm would have destroyed Lois Lane's uterus. It's impossible. Continue.
Lost. Craig, do you think that's what Superman is all about?
Well, for one thing, it's a terrible analogy. I mean, with Superman, they are sending your best. You know, that's not escalator material. James Gunn nearly lost his job, career. He was fired after they unearthed tweets containing pedophile jokes. So he was like banished, canceled. This is his way back. He's creating a moat of woke, enlightened opinion around him. A lot of Me Too suspects do that. James Franco did it. Harvey Weinstein donated a lot to Democrats because he was running around sexually assaulting people. So this is what you do.
He's got a woke shield.
He's got a woke shield.
A woke moat.
Yeah.
Dana?
Well, I think that I'm at no risk of hurting my 22-year streak of not going to the movie theater.
Damn.
22 years?
But that's when I said it the other day on the show, Greg calculated correctly. It had been 22 years.
22 years, yeah.
It's a long time.
What was the last movie you saw?
And Peter remembers the name of it. I don't.
Thank you.
It was a porn.
Jesse.
Guys never
At the
forget.
movie theater?
Oh, that kind of thing? I don't know. I got to look at the script. And he's from Uganda. And there's a love scene with Batman and Robin.
Wow.
For real. A guy I know in Hollywood gave it to me. Big movie producer.
I think the big tell is the actual actor. His name is David Cornsweet, and he said, I guess he didn't change it to a better stage name. He found himself unable to say Superman's slogan, quote, truth, fighting for truth, justice, and the American way. He said, truth, justice, and all those good things. He refused to say the American way, and he's playing Superman. I went to the Yankees at Mets game yesterday at Citi Field. Go Yanks. And you should see the people sitting for the national anthem for God Bless America. It's really just, I can't believe that we've come down to that. And I don't know. We don't go to the movie theater to be lectured to and to have somebody throw their ideology onto us. I wonder if it'll be successful.
You know what it says on his cape? MS-13.
Wow.
Is it
MS-13 on his cape. Every man in this movie is weak. Pierce Morgan. Has James Gunn turned Superman woke? Let's see their take.
Of that situation. Superman's actually a refugee.
Isn't that an immigrant?
They're trying to equate those things together, which I think is ridiculous because of the current politicization of that situation.
James Gunn is not the kind of guy who's going to put an American flag in his front yard during 4th of July. And that's the kind of guy you need to be to create Superman.
I did not like this movie at all. Every man in this movie is weak and he cries.
Chris, there is one silver lining here, which I think you touched on.
Dresses, short skirts, high heels, cleavage. Thank you, James Gunn, for that.
Hollywood's has been trying to remove masculinity for it seems like the last decade. Once again, it needs to be white boy summer to bring people back to the box office.
Yeah, there's their take. Let's see if we have any more. Here's another take. Did James Gunn make Superman woke? Let's talk about it. Ashton Blasey.
Focusing on the fact that Superman is an immigrant. Well, conservatives don't like the new Superman because James Gunn made it woke. James Gunn focusing on the fact that Superman is an immigrant proves the left has won again. I try to avoid political conversation because the last time I did, I ended up saying rats in Venezuela. But I hate to break it to you guys, but Superman is an immigrant, and an illegal one at that. First, I sparked quite the argument on Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, and the replies do not disappoint. He's a legal immigrant. No, he is not. In fact, Clark Kent's adoptive parents had to forge his birth certificates. There's an entire Smallville episode on illegal immigration, and Clark Kent actually does bring this up. Here's another tweet to do something with American values and corn for some reason. Superman has always been a character that values Americans of every race, background, immigration status, religion, etc., etc. Just look at this poster from the 1950s. For those who have never actually read the comics or seen any actual Superman media, James Gunn's Superman has always been, well, Superman. And it brings up the question, was this movie actually taken over by the woke mind virus? Or do people just want to find a reason to be angry? James Gunn's Superman is and always has been Superman. Don't get me wrong, I had my doubts. With the way that superhero movies has been going, Disney's Marvel, the weird super suit from behind the scenes footage, the casting for Crypto, I still don't understand why it's a cockapoo. This was one of the first superhero movies in a long time that I really enjoyed. You know, besides Deadpool and Wolverine, but you get my point. So maybe stop being angry about everything and just enjoy it, because it's just a movie. And if you have a problem with Superman being an immigrant, then I guess you got a problem with Superman. Well, conservatives don't like the new Superman.
Okay. Here's another take here. Huh. Whoopee? What? Oh my goodness. Oh no, here we go. The new Superman wants you to come out seeing this movie and be looking inward. Woke Superman is flying towards a box office disaster.
Kinder to people,
What would you like people to take away after they've seen it?
I mean, it might be too much to ask, but just what you described about looking inward and wondering, is there something more I could be doing? Could I be a little kinder to people? Could I take a little more responsibility for myself, for my family, for my loved ones? Could I be somebody who shows up in a moment of crisis or of uncertainty and say, I'll take care of this situation? Superman obviously has these big superpowers and can take care of quite a lot, but it's amazing what little moments of human beings saying, it's okay, I'll take care of this, we'll do for the
Our
world.
superpowers just look different.
Yeah.
He chooses to walk among people. He could do anything. He's the most powerful being in the universe.
Yeah.
He could do anything, but he chooses to walk among people, and he chooses to do good and be kind.
Yeah.
And I think we'd love for people to walk out of the movie feeling entertained. There's tons of action and really fun stuff, but also a little hopeful. We could definitely use that right now.
Oh, wow. I just want Superman to kick the bad guy's ass. All right? If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. This is cultural warfare at its most insidious. Superman wasn't just a comic book character. He was an American aspiration personified. an orphan from another world who chose to defend his adopted nation with every fiber of his being. He didn't apologize for his power. He used it to protect the innocent. He didn't question American values. He embodied them. And now James Gunn wants us to believe Superman is really about immigrant sob stories and male fragility. That strength is toxic. That defending your country is problematic. They're betting you're going to take your kids to see it anyway. That nostalgia will override your principles. Prove them wrong. Every ticket bought validates their propaganda. Every empty seat sends a message. They can rewrite Superman, but they can't rewrite us. So question here, will you boycott the new woke Superman movie, yes or no? You can show your true colors because not all heroes wear capes. You guys can wear some Next News merch at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. All right, looks like we got something else going on here. We got God is Good all the time, dropping 2 spots. What's up? $1, $2. Thank you for that support. We're now at $62.98. We're almost to 100. Bruce dropping $10. I have a $10 bill here. We'll go to the stack from Bruce. Thank you, Bruce, for your support of our efforts at the Next News Network. Okay, what is the answer to our trivia question? You guys said Superman, and the answer was, in fact, Superman. Created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Superman debuted in Action Comics #1 in 1938 as the defender of truth, justice, and the American way. And there you have it. We're going to check in with the main feed real quick here, find out what's going on in the big world, the big wild world. 2 hours ago, we have this from Pam Bondi. No intention of stepping down, and is quite proud of the department's work so far. George Santos weighing in. I had a call with some reliable sources in D.C. Change is coming. 3 hours ago, FBI Director Kash Patel is considering resigning over disagreements with Pam Bondi, according to the Daily Wire. Colin Rugg reporting. This revelation comes as other reports claim FBI Director Dan Bongino is also considering resigning. Holy cow. Kash Patel considering resigning too? What in hell is going on? Okay, Ivan Raiklin, I would accept replacing Scam Blondie under 2 conditions. My title remains Secretary of Retribution. What do you think the other is? Secretary of Retribution. Drive-by media. Oh, boy. A lady shot over a cheeseburger. New media spin just dropped. ICE forcefully raided a California farm and arrested farmers. Reality, it was a weed farm exploiting child labor. ICE agents had rocks thrown and a gun fired at them. Illegal arrested in Van Nuys during a ICE raid at Home Depot. The perpetrator interfered with ICE officers arresting another illegal alien and then refused to comply when being arrested. All could have been avoided if illegals self-deported. Let's see here. Real-time live weather modification going on the west coast of California. A man throwing a firework into a crowded bar in St. Louis. Oh, my God. Chill.
This bad light ass nigga.
Go kids. Oh, they went out?
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Peace report. Don't even hurt. All the way to work. Peace report.
Oh, my God.
We going fucking viral. Nah, me too. That's what I'm saying. Turn this motherfucker up. Everybody nice and comfy.
Everybody thinks shit. Everybody thinks shit over.
Chill.
I mean, what's crazy is that they're filming it, putting their faces on camera. Easy way to get arrested. 9 hours ago, our RNC research, Democrat Maryland Attorney General Anthony Brown, Maryland, refuses to cooperate with ICE. Well, you know what happens if you mess with the bull, right? Wall Street Apes 5 hours ago, Pam Bondi needs to be terminated. Dan Bongino clashed with Bondi over the Epstein files and now considering resigning. Dan Bongino blew the whistle. The evidence from Epstein's safe went missing after the FBI raid. He said that was impossible. Well, okay, now that's the show. That's Friday, baby. Time for me to hit the hot tub. Maybe have a cocktail. I don't know. See what happens. I got a big day tomorrow. So maybe cocktails are out of the question. So whatever. But what we witnessed today isn't just news, though. It's a complete unraveling of everything they told us to trust. The Epstein files are tearing Trump's inner circle apart. Well, the FBI plays dumb about documents that Elon Musk says he's seen. Dan Bongino ready to walk away from his dream job because he can't stomach the cover-up. Kash Patel may soon follow. I mean, how many names are hidden? How many more lies are they selling? When forensic experts prove that footage was edited 4 times, we're not dealing with justice, we're dealing with obstruction at the highest levels. And Jerome Powell's Federal Reserve Palace is crumbling under the weight of its own corruption. $2.5 billion for gardens and VIP elevators while American families choose between gas and groceries. Trump called him out and Powell's running for the exit, so good riddance. But the real question is who's next? How deep does the rot go? The Fed has strangled our economy for over a century, and maybe it's time to pull the plug completely. And then there's the plague. Yes, the plague in Arizona in 2025. Right when Peter Hotez predicted viruses crashing down. These people telegraphed their moves like a bad movie villain. First COVID, now bubonic death. What's next? Smallpox, Ebola? They'll keep manufacturing crisis until we stop complying with their solutions. And speaking of manufactured crisis, 10 children found enslaved on a California cartel farm, not in Venezuela, not in Guatemala, in Gavin Newsom's California. 300,000 more still missing. Trafficked, exploited, sold, while Democrats attack ICE for doing their job. Every sanctuary city policy is written in the blood of these kids. In Hollywood, they took Superman, and turned him into everything he was created to stand against. Weak men, guilty consciences, the globalist propaganda wrapped in a red cape, and they're not just making bad movies now. They are rewriting the American story one hero at a time. But here's what they don't understand, that we are the real heroes of this story. Every one of you who shared the stream, every patriot who sent in super chats, you are the ones who keep independent media alive. You are the resistance. So continue telling your friends about this show. Text them the link, post it on social media, hit our merch shop, wear your defiance proudly. When the segments come out, send them around. Because if we don't stand up now, if we don't speak truth now, there will not be a tomorrow worth saving. So thank you to everyone who supported us today. Thank you for choosing truth over comfort, courage over compliance. This is Gary Franchi. This has been The Raw Feed. We'll see you next time if they let us. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay free, Patriots.